Welcome to Nonprofit Profiles. I'm Genevieve. Families with children facing mental health and behavioral challenges often feel alone and overwhelmed. Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services and Family Service of Santa Monica have been providing supportive services for generations of families facing such challenges. Here to tell us more is Dr. Josephson, President and CEO of Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services. Welcome, Dr. Josephson.
Thank you for having me on.
So tell me about the programs at Vista Del Mar.
Well, Vista Del Mar has been around for over 105 years. And one of the wonderful things about Vista is that we have so many programs. And it's always a challenge when somebody asks me, what do you do? Because we do so much. And the good news is really for families on the West Side and Hollywood and here in Santa Monica is they have a place literally for one-stop shopping. Mm-hmm. If they want to adopt a child, they can come and we'll help them through the adoption process. If they have a child with a mental health or behavioral challenge, we've got clinical services that we can work with the child in their home, in the school, or in our clinic. If they have a child who's not succeeding in a regular school, they can come to our school, which is now grown to about 350 students on our Westside campus. So there's so much that we do, and it's really great for families because they can just plug in and we can put them anywhere on the continuum that meets their needs.
Wow. So when you say Child and Family Services, you're talking about a whole host of services.
Absolutely, and that's a real strength of Vista Del Mar.
And about how many families or children are you serving?
In all of our programs, we probably serve about 7,000 children and families a year.
That's a lot of people.
Absolutely, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of need. That's the thing that I've known over my career is that mental health and behavioral issues in particular, they're just not identified early enough and they're not talked about. There's still a lot of stigma in our society about mental health issues. And so there's a lot of pent-up need there that's not being met and not being addressed. And so we have a lot of demand for our services.
How do families find out about what you have to offer?
Well, they can find out in different ways. So certainly we get referrals from pediatricians and family practitioners if a child is struggling with their development, even at an early age. So our program over in Hollywood, Home Safe, works from 0 to 3 essentially. Mm-hmm. And so all the research shows us that getting in there early when kids are really, really young is where you make the most gains in terms of their behaviors and their speech and language and social development. So we'll get referrals from families, from doctors certainly, and then from schools. So schools will start to notice that a child can't keep up because of a behavioral issue, or they have some of the autism spectrum disorders or other challenges, and then families will say, this isn't working for my child in our home school, we need to find a more supportive, smaller setting. So it could be, again, schools, pediatricians, community. It's just, we're so well known after 105 years, we just get a lot of referrals. People, everywhere I go, people just say, oh, Vista Del Mar, we know Vista. So.
And do you have a waiting list, or are you able to try and serve most of the people that come to you?
Well, we do have a little bit of a waiting list. It really depends on the program, but I would say to people, don't assume we have a waiting list. I think sometimes the public thinks, oh, I'm not going to call because there's going to be a long wait. That's not always the case. And so I would just urge people to call and inquire, and we really try to figure out who has the most urgent need and make sure we get them in first if that's necessary. So call if you have a question or a need, always better to call. The problem really for us in my field of mental health and children's services is that the policymakers and the economy here in California have constricted our resources. And so even in the Medicaid, Medi-Cal program, which is an entitlement program, so if you have Medi-Cal, really the way you get in, the way you get services is a doctor or a clinician like myself would say, this is a medically necessary needed service. And if we say that that's the case and we're able to give you a diagnosis, they're supposed to pay for it. But because of fiscal issues, the state has said, Vista Del Mar only has $10 million of Medi-Cal to spend, and when they get up to that amount, we're cutting it off whether there's more kids with medically necessary service needs out there or not. So that's our biggest challenge, is we have the capacity, but the state is not always allowing us to meet the needs.
I see. So increasing your funding would make a huge difference.
A huge difference. And I talked to our supervisors, I talked to their Congress people, and I think they get it. It's about making smarter choices. It's about investing earlier, so we're not sending kids to expensive residential treatment or to jail or the streets.
Sure.
And all the research backs that up. It's just
Yeah.
helping people make those smart funding decisions.
Yeah, and it sounds like your programs are really focused on early intervention and prevention.
They are. That's part of the continuum, but we do, I should say, we do have residential services as well. So we have 48 youth who live on our campus in 2 different residential settings. And these are our kids who basically have, not worked out in foster care or in some other systems. So they can't be in a regular home setting. It's just not safe for them or the family. And so they come to our residential services, and we give them tons of service and try to get them back to the community.
And what are the ages of the kids in that facility?
That's roughly 13 through 18.
So teenage kids.
Teenage kids only, yeah.
And I understand you have other types of services, like a teen pregnancy counseling program.
Yes, so we, again, believe in prevention, as you said, and teen pregnancy, the numbers actually have been decreasing in recent years, which is good news, but we don't want to take it for granted.
Sure.
And so we have those programs in place, particularly in schools, to try to give teenagers the information they need to make smart choices.
And are your services provided to the clients free of charge? Is there a copay type of fee? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. It really depends on the program. So some of the programs and services we provide are grant or foundation funded, and we don't have to charge, or we charge a very minimal fee. Certainly if people have Medi-Cal or other coverage, there's no copays required. But then we do accept commercial insurance, and we have copays that are mandated by those insurance carriers. So. And
can you just share from your own experience, is there a particular story, something that might really illuminate how you're helping people?
Yeah, there's so many stories,
well,
really.
Just pick one.
Well, it's always gratifying to me when I go through our school in particular, and I just was at our musical. We had a musical production earlier this morning, and we have such a range of students. So we have kids who can get up and are really good on guitar or bass or piano, and they're performing, and then we have kids who are really struggling, may even be partially nonverbal at times. And they got up on stage, and they were able to participate, and the crowd went crazy for them. And so it's just a wonderful feeling that everyone of all abilities is embraced and meets their potential. So it's wonderful.
That's so great that you find a way to meet every need.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on our program and sharing about the wonderful work that you're doing.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear about Family Service of Santa Monica. Please stay with us.
Hey, Mom. Yes, I'm home. Saved you some dinner.
Plan now for a major earthquake. Contact the Santa Monica Office of Emergency Management. Don't be caught in the dark.
Welcome back. Before we move on to our next guest, I wanted to just make a mention of a very important program at Vista Del Mar, which is its laptop sponsorship program. We hope you'll be inspired to sponsor a laptop for one of the children. Now, with us is Laura Ornelas, the Director of Santa Monica Family Service. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
So I understand that Santa Monica Family Service is a program that's connected with Vista Del Mar.
Yes, we operate under the umbrella of Vista Del Mar.
But you are a separate facility, so tell us about what you do.
Right. So we were founded about 88 years ago. We've been here as a front door to the needs of Santa Monica for a very long time. And we're essentially a counseling center. So we provide mental health services for anybody who needs them, primarily in Santa Monica. And it could be any range of needs that the person has, whether it be a life circumstance that they're going through, all the way to something that's really significant and severe in their lives.
And are you serving all ages, children and adults?
Sure, from birth to death.
And do you do work with families together?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we really do value parents being involved in the work of their children. So even though we do have a tremendous amount of children that we see, We're including their parents. We're sometimes working in conjoint ways, meaning that we might have different configurations of family members in our sessions.
And how do people find out about you and get referred to your service?
They can just call us, and the number's on your screen, I'm sure.
Yes, we'll be providing that for sure. And can you tell us a little bit about your history with the organization?
Sure. Family Services Santa Monica has been around for a very long time, and we have people who have really created a model there that really works for us. So from the earliest days of people who have been doing therapy, we've always been a training program for interns. And so I have been fortunate that I worked at Vista Del Mar in the earliest days of my career 20 years ago, and so I understood the history of Vista Del Mar and had the pleasure of coming on as the Director of Family Service 2 years ago to an already very well-established program.
So tell me a little bit about that training program. You're actually training students who are on their way to becoming counselors?
We are, because we've been training interns for so many years, 30 plus years. We actually have helped to train and develop many of the therapists who are now working on the west side of LA.
I see. So they come to you from graduate schools?
Yeah, they're in graduate programs or getting their licensure hours after graduate school.
And what is it like for the people who receive your services? Do they have to pay for them? Does it vary by program, like at Vista Del Mar? How does that work?
So we are fortunate to be funded by the City of Santa Monica, as well as being able to operate on a sliding fee scale. And because we do have the interns, it allows for us to offer a very low fee of services to certain families when they need it, as well as to work with whatever their income level. We also accept private insurance, and we also can take Medi-Cal. So we have many different doors of people being able to access service.
And how many people do you think you're serving at any given time?
Well, we serve about 1,000 people a year or more. Sometimes in our school sites, we end up serving larger numbers than we expected because you never know what the need is going to be. We have social workers stationed at the school sites, many of them in the local area. So as a result, we serve however many people need to be served that particular school year.
So tell me about the school sites. Are you in the Santa Monica schools? Is that elementary schools, high schools, both?
Right. So while we provide services at the agency, we always have and we always will, we also are really concerned about community accessibility. And so for a child who's in 3 local elementary schools, as well as some of the middle schools and Santa Monica High School, as well as more recently at SMC, we're able to provide mental health services on the campuses.
That's so wonderful, I know, especially because the schools often don't have the funding to provide that kind of service themselves.
That's right, and so to be able to have people working directly with families wherever they are in their daily occurrences really destigmatizes mental health as well, and that's the message that we want to get out. We want to let people know that we are here for you at any point in your life, whether it be something that's just transitional or whether it be something really significant, that we are available to you.
So some clients might only be with you for a short period of time, maybe to get through a difficult time, and then others, you know, might be getting a lifetime of care. Is that accurate?
That's potential, yeah. I mean, there are people who, for example, divorce is something that we commonly work with, or somebody who's experienced a recent loss, you know, that might be situational in their life. But there's also some mental health considerations that are more significant, and so that might be somebody who needs a longer term continuum of support, and we're able to provide that.
And can you talk a little bit about how you might work with really young children? Yes,
it's actually a pleasure because early intervention is really something that is not only more cost effective but also a healthier way to go for families.
Sure.
And so the earlier that we can get in and be supportive to families, we can identify and we can give support services. And so that's actually, you're seeing me smile about it because it's such a pleasure to provide those services before things really escalate into any major problems.
And do you have any stories that you can share with us?
Yeah, so we have the pleasure of being community collaborators. And so we get referrals from anywhere and everywhere and really try to make ourselves available for that. And so we recently received a referral from a school site, and we were able to help a mom detect that her child was really struggling. This was a pre-adolescent girl. And after we were able to open up that conversation between the daughter and her mom, we actually found out that some really serious things could be prevented because the conversation had been opened. And that girl who had been starting to land in the hospital actually is now really high functioning back in her school setting. And it really speaks to the teamwork and also to the level of quality that she received from not only her therapist, but the very strong supervisory staff that we have at Family Service.
Well, that's amazing. It's so wonderful to know that you can prevent harm before it happens.
Absolutely, that's our mission.
Instead of trying to deal with the aftermath. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us and for the work that you do. It sounds like you're really fulfilling a great need in the community.
Thank you.
Well, when we come back, we will hear directly about the impact of these services from a client who benefits from them. Please stay with us.
I thought I had everything under control. Then, one day, something happened. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know there was help. Until someone told me.
Providing access to justice, the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles can help with domestic violence issues, eviction defense, government benefits, immigration, and other civil legal issues.
Welcome back to the show. Here to share her experience with Family Service of Santa Monica is one of its clients, Myesha. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about your experience with Family Service of Santa Monica. Have they been helpful to you? I hope.
Oh, absolutely. We started, my daughter and I, she started the school year in September, and she was having a problem with communicating, and she seemed a little shut down. And her teacher brought it to my attention, like, maybe you should, she should talk to someone. And I was a bit apprehensive, like, talk to someone, like, she's fine, she can talk to me. And so I went ahead, my husband and I went ahead and just, let it happen. And it really started to open up doors for her. I really felt like it broke down barriers, and it helped our communication so much. And so now I'm like an advocate, like, hey, your child is having communication problems, or you can't communicate as an adult, you need to go and talk to somebody. So yeah, it's really, really, really been a key to our communication and us having a better mother and daughter relationship.
Well, I have daughters, and I know firsthand how challenging it can be, especially in the tween years.
Oh, yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11.
Oh, yeah. So you're right in there.
Very challenging, of course, and I'm new to, we have a 3-year-old, so this is our first time going through the whole preteen and, the attitudes and, they're changing, their bodies are changing, know, and so as a mom, I have to understand that too, that she's a young lady that, hormones are just going crazy. And I mean, I'm a woman and my hormones go crazy.
Sure.
So her being 11 and not knowing what's going on, it's harder for her to kind of articulate. So meeting her where she's at has, this has also helped me to meet her where she's at, being able to go through the family services.
And how did your daughter feel about participating?
She was fine. I think it was just like, oh, it's someone else I can talk to, and after meeting with Alana the first 2 times, I noticed a difference in her. And then she wanted to include me in, the sessions. And at first, I said, oh, well, this is you and Alana's thing. This is not, I tried to kind of
give her some space.
Right. But then she really wanted it. And I said, well, whatever it takes. And I just wanted her to know that, she had my support 100%. And so
how did that help actually participating along with her and supporting her in that way?
I was able to really hear her. And as parents, working moms and dads, we're going through the motions. Like we're just trying to work, cook.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get through the day. You gotta get the meals out and
you almost
homework done.
It's like mechanical. Like I got to cook. I got to, get your clothes out. I got to, so you really don't listen and hear what they're saying, and some kids, grab for the attention in certain ways. And hers, she was just very emotional. And, you know, at times I would just say, gosh, you're just being such a drama queen. But then in these sessions, I realized that she was just like saying, Mom, I really need for you to listen to me, and I need you to understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Right. So the drama queen was a symptom, but underneath there was some real things that she wanted to get across.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It sounds like having those sessions provided for her, and then also for you, the space to kind of take a step back from all the busyness of everyday life and say, wait, what's really going on? And let's focus and be a little bit more intentional about life.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and it also gave me an opportunity to hear her thoughts on how she portrayed me. You know, we had certain, sessions where, Alana was like, act like your mom. And then, Alana said, act like Micaiah. And I'm like, okay. So that was really fun, because she's like,
I'm not sure I want to be in that exercise.
But then it also gave me an opportunity like, wow, that sounds kind of like I see.
Is that what I sound like?
Right. And it's like, well, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying clean your room because I have to, wash clothes, cook, take care of you and your brother, be a wife, and still find a little bit of time for me.
Yeah. Just a little.
Right. So that I really like that session a lot.
That's awesome. And it sounds, one of the things I think about as a parent is that, when we go to school, we learn all kinds of things, but we don't necessarily get relationship training, whether it's relationships with our families or our kids or friends. And it seems like Family Service of Santa Monica is kind of filling in that gap.
Oh, absolutely. The program brings you back to the foundation, and that's you and your child, and how important it is for that relationship. Like, if that relationship is not together, how is that going to work for her in the long run? Because she loves me and I love her, and I think at the end of the day, I just wanted her to know, like, I love you. I love you above and beyond. And I just want the best. And if it comes off as a bark or a, it's all love.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. It's all love. And I love you. And so I think she really got that. Like, okay, that doesn't mean that she's being mean. She just wants me to get it done. And, because they don't really do it when you ask them nicely. Sometimes you have to,
Really? I have never noticed that. I think all parents can relate to that.
Yes. And I think that was also, I kind of felt like, am I the only one going through this? Like, no one really talks about, the preteens and the, all the
when things get difficult. We all brag about when things are great.
Oh, absolutely. And being a young mom, and I had Micaiah at 20 years old. So I was young, and I'm still learning, and so no one ever, told me, hey, this is what's going to happen when, so, I just.
So you're learning on the fly.
Yeah, that's right. I'm strapping on my boots and my backpack, and I'm like, come on, let's go for this journey.
So as we get ready to close, I just wonder, is there something that you might say to other parents who feel like they might feel alone or in a difficult time with their child?
Like I tell my daughter, this too shall pass. And what that means is it's going to be bumpy and there's going to be disagreements, but the foundation is love.
And Family Service of Santa Monica can help.
Absolutely. They sure can.
Well, thank you. I just want to thank you so much. We're out of time, but I really appreciate you sharing your story. It's so meaningful for us.
Thank you.
For everyone out there.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I want to thank you for being with us. To learn more about Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services and Santa Monica Family Service, visit www.vistadelmar.org. We'll see you next time on Nonprofit Profiles.